Hey guys, it's Kevin, your visa guy here in the Philippines. It has been a while since I put up a video on this channel. Since the last 2 weeks, I've been busy because there's a lot of expats sending me emails about moving to the Philippines, and some of them are already in the process of getting a visa here in the country. So I figured to gather 10 questions that I think would be helpful for you guys. So who knows? One of the things here might be able to answer your questions. So stick around, grab a cup of coffee. Let's get down to business. All right, number one. Can I work in the Philippines under the 13A? Yes, you can. Not only the 13A, also those under the TRV and MCL. So 13A, TRV, and MCL are spousal visas here in the Philippines. For the TRV, this would be the category for those not under the 13A spousal visa. So most of them are from visa required countries. MCL is a spousal visa for Chinese citizens. The only difference among these three is that the TRV is not a permanent visa. It is a visa that you need to continuously renew every 2 years or 5 years. Now, among the countries under the TRV, I think there are only 2 countries that you can renew every 5 years. The rest would only be 2 years at a time. So those 2 countries would be Pakistan citizens and Indian citizens. Well, they still need to go to a probationary stage and they will get a 1-year visa. But when they renew, they have the option to renew it 5 years. And at that point, they can continue extending their visa every 5 years. For the MCL, it's the same, probationary and then permanent. Well, yes, to answer your question, you can actually work under a spousal visa. You don't need to get a work permit. You don't need to get a 9G working visa or a separate visa, because the spousal visa allows you to work in the Philippines. And you can be employed from a Philippine-based company. Now, you just need to do one thing. If you will be employed by a Philippine-based company, you just need to get a certificate of exemption from the Department of Labor and Employment. It's not a permit, it's not a visa, it's just a certificate that you are exempted to get a work permit. And it's very easy to get, it's very cheap, and I think you can get it less than a week. So go to your local office just in case if you will work for a Philippine-based company. Go to your local DOLE office and get a certificate there. All right, number 2. Can I come to the Philippines, submit my paperwork for the SRRV, go back to my home country, and return when my SRRV is ready? Unfortunately, no. When you submit your SRV application to the Philippine Retirement Authority, your original passport is required from start to finish, and that might take around 1 to 2 months. And be sure to know that your passport is required, because I don't want you to have a wrong assumption thinking that you come to the Philippines, you submit your paperwork, and you exit the country. That might mess up your travel plans. So be sure to have an allocated, probably at least 2 months, just to make it sure. 2 months to stay in the Philippines, and that will be, I think, would be sufficient enough to cover the processing time to get the SRV. So I've given a lot of tips in my previous videos on how to ensure that you can get your visa in 1 to 2 months. So just finish whatever you think is important back in your home country. So when you travel to the Philippines, it's just a matter of submission. All the checking, all the evaluation and stuff are done before you even came to the Philippines. So that would actually help speed up the process a little bit. So you don't have to wait for the entire 2 months. So please be sure to know that. Number 3. I qualify for both the 13A and the SRRV Classic, which is better? Well, congratulations that you qualify for both visas. Not everyone has the option to choose which visa would they like to apply for. Now, I'm going to answer your question with a question. Is it important for you to have a permanent and independent visa, but a little bit expensive? If the answer is yes, you can simply go with the SRRV. Just be sure to know what the annual cost is, the application fee, and then the deposit required for your category. But if you think the fees and deposit does not make sense, you can just go with the 13A. Besides, you're qualified for both. If the relationship does not work out and you're under the 13A, you can just simply apply for a downgrading, switch back to a tourist visa, and then secure the SRRV. Just be sure that you have the right funds for the deposit, the annual cost, and the application fee at that point, because the difference in terms of cost is very high. The 13A is very cheap to get. The only downside is it is a dependent type of visa. Number 4. I heard that the PRA has opened the SRV applicants under 50. How should I start and what paperwork should I submit? Please note that the PRA has not yet made any official announcements about this news. All right? So don't assume any fees, deposit. Don't even pay someone to hold the money for you, because there might be a lot of people telling you to, hey, let me keep your money, and once this opens, I'm going to get you first in line. So, so be sure to wait until the PRA announces this new category that people have been hearing about. So what I want you to do instead is just be familiar with the obvious requirements for the SRV, like getting a police background check, getting the apostille, preparing the inward remittance for your deposit. You don't need to do it, just be familiar on how to do it, because some of the documents like the police background check are time-sensitive documents, including the medical check. Those are only good for 6 months. Again, you don't need to do it, you just need to be familiar with the process of getting the police background check and the apostille, or sending the visa deposit requirement, because it must be an inward remittance. So again, be sure to wait until the PRA announces this rumors that everyone has been hearing about. All right? Be careful. Number 5. Our marriage didn't work out and I want to cancel my 13A before she does. Can I do it alone? Yes, you absolutely can. You just need to write a letter addressed to the Commissioner of the Bureau of Immigration. So essentially, you will do 2 things. Number 1 is when you file for a downgrading from 13A, you will be going back under a tourist visa. The second thing, which is very important, is when you file for a cancellation of your ACRI card. Now, there has been a lot of people who just disregarded the second thing because they thought that they're already under a tourist visa, everything is canceled. No, you need to voluntarily file for a cancellation of your ACRI card, because even if you just let it expire, it is still active in the immigration system. Therefore, you are required to pay for the annual report until it is inactive. The only way to turn your status from active to inactive is when you voluntarily file for a cancellation of your ACRI card. So the problem only sits in when you apply for a visa application in the future, because when you file for it, the immigration will see that, hey, you still have an ACRI card that is still active. Even though it's expired, it's still active in our system. So before we cancel this, you need to pay for all the back fees that you have before we cancel your status or your card. So that's a huge, hefty penalty there. So be sure that when you downgrade your visa, you cancel your cards, so you don't need to pay the back fees in the future. So please put that in mind. All right, number 6. I already bought a condo while on a tourist visa. Can I apply for the SRV without making the required deposit? No. Applying for the SRV actually requires you to put in a certain visa deposit. It does not matter if you have already purchased a condominium, right? But if you already purchased a condominium, you just need to cash out another money for your visa deposit. And once you have the SRV, you can then simply apply for the conversion. So meaning, from the PRA standpoint, it's called conversion of visa deposit into an active investment through a purchase of condominium. So basically what they do is they will require you to file for it, and they will also require you to submit your title at the Registry of Deeds so they could annotate the title, and it's going to be restricted, meaning you cannot rent it out or you cannot sell it to other people. And once that annotation is there on the title, you need to send it back to the PRA, show them a copy. Then once that is done, the PRA will return your visa deposit to you in a check. So yeah, the answer is no. You cannot apply for the SRRV without making the deposit. You need to make a deposit even though you already bought a condominium. Number 7, what is the best visa to stay in the Philippines? My answer will always be the same. It will always be dependent on your circumstances, because even if you qualify under a certain visa and your situation or your current circumstances does not match that purpose, it does not make sense. You might just be wasting money, time, and effort. And if you don't want to do your own research, you can just simply go to visa agencies, consultancies, or even a lawyer's office to ask questions. Just pay for a consultation fee, because who knows, maybe you will understand more your options after that conversation. So you are confident in what you're doing. And besides that, you can enter the Philippines visa free, and it's very easy. You can just keep on doing visa extensions. And I think staying here for 2 to 3 months will allow you to understand your circumstances much better. So make wise decisions. Number 8, my wife is a former Filipina and will retire with me in the Philippines. She doesn't want to apply for a dual citizenship because she might lose benefits in her current country. Can she stay in the Philippines like a regular Filipino citizen? The answer is no. Your former Filipino wife will follow the rules of like being a foreigner in the country. So she can only stay here for a maximum of 3 years just by doing visa extensions. Now, the difference is she will receive a balikbayan privilege, which allows her to enter the country visa-free for 1 year. And if you travel with her, you will also get the same privilege. So both of you will be given a visa-free stay for 1 year. If you want to stay longer than that, you just need to keep on doing visa extensions. And you can do that for a maximum of 3 years. But if you will stay here permanently, there are options for your former Filipino wife. And that would be the 13G or the SRRV. The 13G is a permanent visa filed at the Bureau of Immigration. The SRV is still a visa that allows her to stay indefinitely, but is filed at the Philippine Retirement Authority. The huge difference is the SRV requires your former Filipino wife to put in a certain deposit, which is very low, $1,500. However, for the 13G, there's no visa deposit requirement. Either way, you as the foreign husband can apply as a dependent. So you'll also enjoy the same visa benefits that your former Philippine citizen wife will receive. All right, number 9. I'm still working and can only stay in the Philippines for 4 months a year. Is that enough time to get the 13A? Yes, that is enough time. Just be aware that applying for the 13A here in the Philippines requires 2 stages. The first stage is when you apply as a tourist, your status will be converted into a 13A probationary resident. So it's a multiple entry visa valid for 1 year. And before that visa expires, you need to reapply again to amend the status into a 13A permanent residency. So each stage might take you 2 to 4 months to complete everything. But since you're performing this in a time constraint, I would suggest just pay a consultancy or a visa agency or even a lawyer to do the process for you, because if you do it yourself and you're still exploring on how to get this visa, the paperwork, it might be over 4 months. So that does not yet include follow-ups, implementation, getting the card. So if you can only stay here strictly for 4 months, I would just suggest to pay someone to do it for you. All right, last and final question, number 10. I'm under a 13A probationary visa that expires in 25 days. I've already filed for the permanent stage. but it will take another 2 to 3 months for approval. I have to leave the country for 2 months due to an emergency. Will I lose everything and have to start over? Well, not necessarily. There's a process called grace period. So basically, it extends your 1 year probationary visa, additionally, let's say 3 to 6 months. And that will give you enough time to exit the country and come back in without losing your 13A probationary visa. Now, in the event that you're outside the country and your visa was approved, when you come back to the Philippines, you cannot just submit your passport for implementation. You need to file for a revalidation. It's basically the same with the implementation. It's just that there's a process called revalidation. So it entails another paperwork and fees, obviously, to get that done. And after the revalidation, you will then get your 13A permanent residency along with your ACRI card. So it's not yet the end. So you still have an option to file for a grace period. Again, if your visa will be approved while you're still outside the country, you just need to file for a revalidation when you come back to the Philippines. And that will be at the Bureau of Immigration. Anyway, guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have questions, just leave them in the comments or send me an email at vin.philippines@gmail.com. If you are interested in moving to the Philippines, or if you have questions about your situations here in the Philippines, I do offer a relocation service. Just send me an email at vin.philippines@gmail.com. Also, I want to thank the people who have been supporting my channel all throughout my journey. Thank you so much for watching, sharing my videos to your friends, and also to those people who have been sending donations through PayPal or Buy Me a Coffee. Thank you so much for watching. I am truly grateful. So again, that is it for today's video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on my next video. Peace.